Hello, welcome to Endemic Times. My name is Amira, and today I wanted to talk about a new article that was posted from the New York Times regarding Democrats and dark money, and them basically surpassing Republicans in that effort. Let's take a look. So, in this article, the New York Times looked at 15 of the most politically active nonprofit organizations that generally align with the Democratic Party, which spent more than $1.5 billion in 2020, compared to roughly $900 million spent by a comparable sample of 15 of the most politically active groups aligned with the GOP. Some good government activists worry that the exploding roll of undisclosed cash threatens to accelerate the erosion of trust in the country's political system. It exposes the stark tension between their efforts to win elections and their commitment to curtail secretive political spending by the super rich. So this is basically saying that there's a difference right now in the Democratic Party between whether or not they want to maintain their standards when it comes to abstaining from dark money or using it in order to win their elections because they are so afraid of another Trump win. The 1630 Fund received mystery donations as large as $50 million and disseminated grants to more than 200 groups, while spending a total of $410 million in 2020, more than the Democratic National Committee itself. That's a lot of money that could have gone to a lot of other things. Even as small donors have become a potent force in politics, undisclosed money dwarfed the 2020 campaign fundraising of President Biden, who raised a record $1 billion, and Mr. Trump, who raised more than $810 million. So these two graphs were in the New York Times article, and it shows the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party in the organization's spending in 2020. So as you can see here, the 1630 Fund was the top organization in the adjusted total that you can see there. This is just so much money that, in my opinion, could really be used in much different efforts and helping people in much different ways than just helping the Democratic Party. This is the Republican Party and their total spending, and One Nation is the largest organization that has received the largest amount of money. On the left, the prospect of a second Trump term spurred a new class of megadonors and helped allay lingering qualms about the corrosive effect of secret money among some Democrats. A range of donors, not just traditional progressive Democrats, had a wake-up call around 2019 where they realized that our constitutional republic was at risk and that they had to compete through whatever financing vehicles they could, which resulted in a tremendous outpouring of support. And this was by Rob Stein, who is a longtime Democratic strategist and advisor to some of the party's biggest donors. But Rob Stein worries that the increasing embrace of secret money vehicles will usher in an ominous new dark money arms race and further undermine fraying public trust in government and elections. And I think, as many of us have seen, a lot of people are losing trust in institutions and political parties and their ability to follow through with the promises that they make. Some of those promises being very simple and straightforward, which is especially what got Biden elected in 2020. And so, yes, dark money is going to continue to create all of these fears and issues within the Democratic Party itself and its supporters because of this erosion of trust that people are having, understandably so. There isn't a legal definition of dark money, but in the New York Times article, they explain dark money as funds spent to influence politics by nonprofits that do not disclose their donors. These groups are usually incorporated under the tax code as social welfare and advocacy groups or business leagues. Legally, these groups are allowed to spend money on partisan politics, but it's not supposed to be their primary purpose. And unfortunately, it's a pretty common thing for that to happen. Kevin McLaughlin, who oversaw the Senate Republicans' campaign arm in 2020, marveled at how Democrats had built an elaborate multi-billion-dollar dark money network while simultaneously railing against the scourge of dark money. So this is why Democrats are losing support among their supporters. What happened to when they go low, we go high? The moral superiority that Democrats love to proclaim and the constant signaling to their base that they will take action to stop dark money is all while taking that dark money is peak hypocrisy and is only going to hurt them in the long run. That's just my opinion. Two nonprofit groups affiliated with Republican House and Senate leaders were roughly at financial parity with three similar Democratic groups, according to tax records and interviews. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse said the proliferation of dark money has unleashed a tsunami of slime that disserves democracy. With any luck, now that the Democrats are more seriously in the dark money business, he said, Republicans actually might begin to support some transparency. What a world we're living in right now, that Democrats have found a way to make dark money work even better in this system in a secretive way, more than the Republicans, to such an extent that Republicans are likely going to support stamping down and stopping as much dark money as there is in politics. It's just fascinating and yeah. In 2020, the two main super PACs devoted to helping Mr. Biden's campaign received $37.5 million in dark money. The main super PAC devoted to Mr. Trump received $20.3 million from a linked nonprofit. So again, these are big discrepancies in the dark money that's being received from the different candidates here. A Biden-backing nonprofit, Future Forward USA Action, with ties to Silicon Valley billionaires, raised $150 million in 2020 and transferred more than $60 million to an affiliated super PAC, while directly spending nearly $25 million on TV ads, almost $2.6 million on polling and analytics, and $639,000 on focus groups, which federal records show. In each case, had the donors given directly to the super PACs, their names would have been publicly disclosed. Because the money took an indirect route through a nonprofit, their identities remain unknown. While the Kochs pioneered the use of centralized hubs to disseminate dark money to a broader network, the left has in some ways improved on the tactic, reducing redundancy, increasing synergy, and making it even harder to trace spending back to donors. So while this was at the start, kind of more of a Republican-leaning thing of using this dark money and finding ways to kind of obfuscate the system to have it come forward and come to light, it's the Democrats that have improved this system. And that's just very concerning to me, and I think it should be to other people, because this is coming from a party that is trying to claim that they have the high ground and that they're going to do better for their constituents and for the country. And when you're doing nefarious things like this and using different tactics to get dark money into your politics, it just means that those politicians are not really working for you or for me or for our interests. They're working for themselves and their donors. While we are dedicated to reducing the influence of special interest money in our politics, we are also committed to level the playing field for progressives, Ms. Kurtz wrote in a post about the group's 2020 spending. So this was in regards to the 1630 Fund, which serves as a fiscal sponsor, incubating and supporting a lot of different progressive projects. The groups in the network of the 1630 Fund also include the Hopewell Fund, New Venture Fund, North Fund, and Windward Fund, and were administered by a for-profit consulting firm called Arabella Advisors. Taken together, the Arabella network spent a total of nearly $1.2 billion in 2020, including paying Arabella a combined $46.6 million in 2020 in management fees, according to the tax fund's tax filings. The Hopewell Fund donated to groups that work to reduce the role of big money in politics, but it also gave $8.1 million to a dark money group called Acronym, which spent millions of dollars on Facebook advertising and backed a company called Courier Newsroom that published articles favoring Democrats and received millions of dollars from dark money groups. It was paid $2.6 million by a nonprofit linked to House Democratic leadership to promote articles. So again, this is so much money that's being given to the Democratic Party and different politicians and their campaigns. And it's concerning because this is something that they're saying that they do not approve of, yet in the background they are allowing and they're enjoying because it's giving them support against Trump, the, big scary man that we have to do something about. So this is the problem when we have the amount of money going into politics that we do, when we don't have very good guidelines and restrictions on how that money is going to be given to a campaign or given to a politician. In this kind of area where Democrats are now getting more dark money than the Republicans that kind of started this trend, this should be really concerning because as we're seeing on both sides of the aisle, whether you're Republican or Democrat, we're both seeing that this erosion of trust is because of tactics and actions like this from both political parties, because it makes them more beholden to their donors than they are to their actual constituents and the citizens of this country. So this was something that I wanted to talk about because I felt like it's important and something that we should continue to look at, because as the Democrats love to say that they are progressive and that they want to help the people and they want to take big money out of politics, if this is the tactics that they're doing behind the scenes, then we're not going to be able to make the substantive change that we need to in order to help our country. But that's just my take. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on this. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for when I have new videos posted. And just remember that we're all human, we're all on a unique journey, and the best way for us to move forward positively is to have these kinds of discussions, as difficult as they may be. Stay safe, take care, and remember to be kind to each other.